What do you mean you're 27 years old and you don't know what you're doing with your life?
Dear Diary, you ready for this one?
Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Daisha. As you can tell by the cover, this is gonna be a get to know me video, but I have notes. I have notes so I can keep us organized and streamlined. And I'm just gonna treat this as if nobody who's watching this knows me. So first and foremost, like I said, my name's Daisha. Welcome to my channel, Daisha's Diary. This is not my first, probably even my 10th time attempting YouTube, but we're gonna vibe. We're gonna see who I'm feeling like this year. While we're chatting, I'm gonna make my coffee. When I first came to law school, I had an espresso, but I told myself that it was probably gonna be cheaper to get rid of the Nespresso because as y'all know, these pods add up. And then I got an espresso maker off of Facebook Marketplace from somebody. She was selling the DeLonghi for like $70. So I got it, and she was great. She was amazing. She served me real well, but I found out during final season that I make too much coffee. I need too much coffee to be trying to make coffee from scratch every time. So that's not gonna work. So we're back to the Nespresso. I have the Nespresso Virtuo line or whatever you call it. Love her down. She's my girl. So what's first on our list? Who am I? I already told y'all my name. My name's Daisha. I am a current law student at Howard University School of Law. So I relocated to DC, and I don't know, like I used to be an athlete for most of my life. I was a volleyball player. That's something I struggled with actually. Ooh, she's kind of loud. Sorry if you can't hear me. I struggled with life post-grad, being an athlete, just like trying to figure it out. Like what the hell comes next when you're an adult, when you only do or know one thing for so long. So a lot of my identity used to be rooted in being an athlete, but I think like I've kind of recovered from that. I'm still able to play from time to time. Now being in DC, I don't really have a group of people I play with, so I'm hoping to find some community, especially now that I have more time with my law school schedule. Why law school? Okay, first of all, your girl is 30 years old. That still feels crazy to me, like 30 years old, y'all, 30 years old. For the longest time, I was scared to turn 30. Like I thought when I turned 30, it was gonna hurt. And then I decided at 27 that that's when I was gonna go back to school because first of all, when I graduated from law school, I never really had a dream job, didn't know what I wanted to do. I was a journalist. Did I say graduate from law school? Graduated from undergrad. I was a journalism major. Like volleyball was my whole everything. Like I couldn't think of a life outside of that. So I think I'm gonna use these glasses. Y'all, she smells so good. What I like to do is put my syrups and stuff in my coffee. I don't know, it just tastes better to me that way. Anyway, journalism major, and just, I didn't have big dreams, hopes, ambitions of what my life would be or what it would look like. And my parents post-grad were like, you should go to law school, you should go to law school. I don't know exactly why they said that. I mean, I have some inkling. There are certain things I'm just like very, very passionate about, and I'll talk to that once we get to like the law school part of why I finally decided to go to law school. But yeah, girl, post-grad, I was just early 20s, mid 20s, figuring it out for a long time. I was like, I'm gonna be a famous influencer. I'm gonna have a business online. Yeah, that did not work. Well, I don't know, girl. I when I get in my head and I feel like I'm in the trenches, baby, I'm just like, throw it all away. I give up. But I've been doing social media, or been on social media for quite a few years now, and I think I'm at a place where like, if this is not a job for me, then it's just something I enjoy and it's something I really love doing. And I hope that people are able to see that and they're able to feel that through my content because I love sharing my life online. But anyway, that's what I thought I was gonna be doing, girl, post-grad. And so funny, they say, you know, if you wanna make God laugh, tell him your plans. He laughed, God played. So anyway, I struggled getting a job post-grad. I worked as a server, and by the way, like no shade, I love serving. Like I love serving. In fact, right before I moved to DC, I picked up a job as a server because I don't know, I love the service industry and being a server and talking to people. But I got a job, like I was nannying. I got my real estate license at one point. Hold on, let me wash my hands and wash the spoon. Okay, I also just heated up that scoop of cookie butter in the microwave. Y'all, I just got my microwave fixed this week. If you follow me on TikTok, you probably saw the microwave blower. Your girl was just having a day and I broke my microwave with my head. Crazy, insanity. Anywho, I'm gonna pour this in my coffee as well. What was I saying? So got my real estate license while I was nannying. Like, I just really did not know what to do with my life. Fast forward, I was working a job as a business development coordinator. And this was post-COVID, like the world was fully remote. So I'm at home every day doing this job and I hated it. I hated it. I don't know if it's because, like, at the time, I'm now diagnosed with ADHD, but I didn't, like, sitting home doing the same thing, and it felt like the work felt so thoughtless. Like, I do not like sales. I'm not into sales. I'm not passionate about sales. Every interview I've ever had in the sales industry where I've been like, I'm so passionate, my 5-year goal is to, I lied, baby. I should have lied. But, you know. And so anyway, I was doing this job, and I felt so small. And I also think this goes with, like, being an athlete. So much of my worth, I felt like, was tied to being an athlete because I was constantly used to receiving praise. I was used to being excellent. I was used to always having some type of activity, something going on in my life. What am I looking for? What am I? Ice. I need ice. Hold on. So I was doing this job and it was just thoughtless. Like, I did not enjoy it. I was not passionate about it whatsoever. And I get that not all jobs we're gonna do are passion projects, but I hated this job so bad. And then one day I was scrolling on LinkedIn and I saw somebody in my company said that they were celebrating 19 years in the company. Y'all, my jaw dropped. 19 years? And I'm like, what? By this point, I'm 27 years old. I've already had like a few years post grad. I'm really feeling like just useless and worthless, and just like I'm taking up like space on this earth doing nothing. So a lot of like self-sabotage, negative self-talk already going on. And then I see somebody say that they are posting or having their 19 years with this company, and that scared me. I don't know what it was, but like I was shook. I'm also gonna put just a teensy bit of this in here. I don't know, it flavors the milk in my opinion. And I saw that post, that LinkedIn post, they're celebrating 19 years. And I thought to myself, if I was still in this job, in these exact same circumstances that I'm in right now, 19 years from now, would I be happy with my life? No. Like, no, I already felt like crap about my life. Like, baby, I can't do this for another 19 years. And I just feel like with sales, especially if you're not passionate about it, if you're not doing anything to like grow and level up in that position, like you're pretty much only gonna be able to get jobs of the same level. Like, I feel like it's easy to move like laterally in sales than, you know, this way up. And so I was just like, yeah, no, this is probably not gonna be for me. So I decided in August 2023, at 27 years old, that I was gonna take myself back to school at my big age. And y'all, I felt so ridiculous. What do you mean you're 27 years old and you don't know what you're doing with your life? And do you see how ridiculous that sounds? Like, even at 30 years old right now, I'm like, babe, I'm a 30-year-old teenager. I still don't know what's going on. I still don't know what I'm doing. So I used to beat myself up. But anyway, started studying. I studied for like 2 years. And y'all, like, woo! Them 2 years was crazy because the LSAT, first of all, the LSAT is unlike anything I've ever done or encountered in my life before. The LSAT goes crazy. Like, I don't know. It's a whole different type of beast. I wouldn't say like I'm not a standardized test taker, which like I don't love them. I do feel like I struggle. Again, like at the time, I had a lot of undiagnosed things going on in my life that like manifested, I feel like, when I would try to take tests or perform on certain things. But what am I doing right now? Oh yeah, I'm gonna make some cold foam. A little bit of sugar-free vanilla in here. Dash of that. And then some more almond milk. Yeah, it was so hard. It was so hard. And so it just took me so long to grasp and to understand and get to a level where I felt comfortable taking the real test. And I'm talking like everyone knows what the LSAT is, but basically if you don't, it is the test you need to take to be able to get into a law school. While I was studying for that, y'all, take me through there. I think, so like I said, almost studying for 2 years, right? A month before I was gonna take my test in September 2024. Yes, September. So yes, I took my test. Y'all, what is time right now? It just turned 2026. I started law school in August. Okay, yes. So September 2024 was my LSAT. Went through a breakup, August, right before my LSAT. I had to move out of that apartment. I had to move out the space that I was sharing with this person. Like, I don't know if any of you have ever lived with a man and then had to move out living with a man, but that process is just like traumatic in and of itself. Did that, and then I went to my parents' house. I moved back in. By this point, how old am I? 28? Moved back into my parents' house. If you know anything about living with your parents, like, love my parents down, like, but some people you just cannot share a space with and have it be a good time. Especially because I was moving not only with myself and all of my junk being consolidated into a room, I was moving back with a dog. I'm gonna froth it one more time. And everybody not dog people, but what are my parents gonna say? No, you can't bring the dog. So that was definitely an uncomfortable situation. Got my first test results back because I still took the test. No, wait, rewind. Y'all. So then at the end of August, so like I moved out mid-August, at the end of August, like a week before I had to take my LSAT, I got laid off my job. And it just felt like one thing after another. I had no time to sit around and sulk and cry and feel bad for myself. Like I didn't have time to do it. Had to still take my LSAT. Do I think I was at my best? No. Took the first test, didn't get a score I loved. In fact, I was incredibly disappointed because I know at this point, it had been about 2 years I had been busting my butt preparing for this test. Decided to study again for a few more months, took it again. Was already applying to schools, had already been getting rejections, wait lists. I didn't get any acceptances until I took it again in January, which was now January 2025. Got a score that was much better. Emailed schools like, hey, here's my updated score. I'm still interested. Please still consider me. Like, please, I need to go to school. I can't take another year staying in my parents' house, and I also just can't take another huge loss. A long-term relationship ended. Had to move out of my apartment, my beautiful, stunning, gorgeous apartment that I loved so much with my dog, in my parents' house, like in a room. And I'm so thankful. I sound like I'm complaining, but truthfully, I'm so thankful, y'all, that I have parents that were, when I picked up the phone and was like, come get me, they showed up, my best friend showed up, and we made it work. It wasn't all sunshines and rainbows, but we did what we had to do. So anyway, oh my gosh, look how pretty she is. That's something else. I don't think I gave y'all like little tidbits about me, but I love coffee so much. Like, it is a huge part of my life and my personality. People are always like shaming me for it a little bit. They're like, you need to drink some tea, you need to drink some water. Baby, I do drink my water. I'm probably 90% water, 10% caffeine. That might be flip-flopped, but you know what I'm saying. I drink my water too. Anyway, so finally oh, it was so crazy, y'all. It was so, I don't know, like, I think sometimes when you're going through stuff and things are really, really bad, that sometimes you just need a sign. Got my LSAT score back in January, still hadn't heard anything from schools. Now, boom, we're rolling into February, babes. As a single girly, if you've been in a long-term relationship and you're just a person that does not, you've just never really been alone, Valentine's Day could be hard. So we rolled into Valentine's Day, we rolled into February. I was so sad up until this point, like devastated, because I felt like all these things had gone wrong in my house or in my life, and I just needed something. And then on Valentine's Day in 2025, I got my first yes from a school. Why does that make me want to cry thinking about it? it really was just like, it was the something that I needed, that I was like, I can really do this. My life does not look the way I thought it was gonna be. I feel like oftentimes it never does. Hold on. Oh, she's so good. But yeah, that first acceptance gave me what I needed to stand back up on my feet. I will never forget that day. It was also the day I had planned to spend like a weekend in the downtown Franklin. I spent the past few years before I moved to DC living in Nashville. So I had like a Galentine's weekend planned with my friends, and it was everything I needed. And I think from that point forward, I didn't feel like the girl who had to walk away from a relationship that I thought was gonna be, I thought I was gonna get married. I thought I was gonna have a future. Like I was no longer that girl. I was no longer only the girl who the only thing good she could do was be a volleyball player. No longer the girl who was just laid off and running myself ragged, driving for Amazon, picking up odd jobs, doing all kind of stuff. Y'all, I was driving for Amazon after I got laid off, delivering packages. Somebody pointed a pew-pew at me one time I was delivering, but I'm like, I got bills to pay. Like, what am I gonna do? Whoop-de-doo. So anyway, that acceptance like did something for my soul. I needed it. And then I was actually had recently gotten hired at a new job that I knew was going to be temporary. I am leaving no matter what in July or August to go to law school. By that point, I knew I was leaving. Where am I going with this? So I actually happened to be in New York for a conference I had to fly to for work. And I was like, the school I'd gotten accepted to, it was Fordham in New York. I feel like I'm like trying to gatekeep that information, or I don't want you to think I'm trying to gatekeep that information. I had a tour scheduled for the school. I had also applied to Howard. Howard was a dream for me. Northwestern in Chicago was a dream for me. And then somewhere in New York, like Columbia, NYU, Fordham, I didn't care. I just knew I wanted to be in a city. I didn't want to be in Tennessee anymore, and I wanted somewhere far. I wanted somewhere far so that I would be forced to stand on my own 2 feet without a man, without a situationship, without my parents. And I say that I still am so supported in law school, so I don't mean like I don't know the best way to put it, but you know, like when you're away from people, when you're away from friends and family, there's just some things that you have to conquer and you have to do and you have to live through on your own. And so that's what I mean. My friends are great. I couldn't do this I could not do law school without my friends and my family. So I want to set that straight. But the morning, I'm getting ready, or maybe it was the day before, y'all, at this point, I don't know. I'm getting ready to do my tour for Fordham in New York. I look at my phone and I get my acceptance from Howard. And by that point, I think I was already telling people, it was now the beginning of March. I was like, end of February, beginning of March. I was like, I'm not getting accepted into law school, or I'm not getting accepted into Howard. You know, I haven't heard anything back. I feel like they ghosted me at this point. It's what it is. No, actually, I'm low-key sad. I would have at least liked to hear back. Told somebody that, like, I don't think I'm getting in. Get my acceptance. Like, won't God do it? Won't God do it? And that's why sometimes you just have to let him cook. Like, you really just have to let him do his thing. And I looked at the person I was in New York with at the time and I said, well, I'm moving to DC. I knew it was Howard for me. Now, I toured Fordham, love the school, love, it's beautiful. It's ranked significantly higher than Howard in New York, one of the largest industries, places to be for law. But I was like, Howard's my home. And then as if that wasn't already confirmed, I went to the admitted students day. Playing in a sport that's mostly white girls, you're used to being the token. You're used to being the exception. You're used to people looking at you a certain way or putting you on a pedestal or letting you in their group, in their club, because they perceive you a certain way because you share common interests or because you perform at a certain level in the sport. So anyway, I had never been outside of like a party, a sporting event, anything. I'd never been surrounded by so many excellent, intelligent Black people. Like, it gave me chills sitting in the room at Admitted Students Day. It was amazing. It was amazing. And I encourage anybody who is interested in going to law school, who's going through this process, you're gonna be on Reddit. You have to follow your heart. you have to decide what's best for you, and you need to have a list. And for me, Howard met most of the things on my list that I wanted in a school. Despite all the negative stuff that's online about Howard, despite everything not being perfect, even now, like there are some things at school that are not ideal, but I love this community. I love the school. I love being in DC. I love being in DC. It's so black. It's so black. And also, that's what's also on my list. Moving to DC from Tennessee, babes. It's like night and day. And I also have on here that I want to talk about the PWI to HBCU pipeline. I'm so thankful. Like at one point before undergrad, before going to college, I was being recruited by an HBCU. And I think HBCUs have the stigma that if you go play a sport there, it's not gonna be, you're not gonna have state of the art. You're not gonna have this, you're not gonna have that. The talent is not gonna be the same. At the time, for me, I had all these thoughts in my head and I was like, I wanna go somewhere where I can compete and I could win. However, I would love to go to an HBCU. But ultimately ended up where I was supposed to be at Murray State, and it was amazing. 4 rings, 5 years, the best and the worst times in my life. I'm so thankful I ended up at Murray State. However, being at Murray State let me know that going to law school at a predominantly white school or being in classrooms, especially given the current administration, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here, the way the world is now, I didn't want to sit in a classroom and have to listen to people trying to be devil's advocate or invalidate my feelings, or people who just didn't get it, who didn't understand the way this law is set up for certain people and not for others. So I love it. I had my first Howard homecoming. It was so fun. I didn't do too much though. I really didn't do too much because 1L is no joke. 1L got hands. And law school is humbling. My first semester, just like the amount of readings and learning how to read, the way things are written, huge learning curve. I thought the LSAT was hard. Baby, the LSAT has nothing on law school. Nothing at all. So I'm loving the transition. I love the community. I love the vibes. I love not seeing certain red hats or slogans painted all over the city, you know what I'm saying? Like, it feels good here. Do I think this is gonna be my forever home though? I don't know. We just had our first snowstorm, and at my core, at my heart, I'm still a Southern girl, so the snow been a little crazy. However, we've had virtual classes all week because of it, so sometimes you cannot put a question mark where God put a period, okay? What's next on my list? Love life. Your girl is very single, very, very single. I came into law school with the expectation that I'm not gonna date for the next 3 years. Some people think that like is crazy. Some people think that's ridiculous, but I'm gonna tell you my thought process. I just don't wanna be crashing out. I don't want to have an exam or have a midterm, something important, and be crashing out over a man. That is, why does this camera keep making sounds? I'm sorry if y'all can hear that. That's probably a me problem I still need to work on, but my life has been very just like me and my dog, my friend, like that's it. It's funny because it's one of the first times in my life that I've ever really been alone, no situationships, phone dry, nothing, like nothing. There have been moments of cobwebs. There's been moments of not cobwebs. However, what has been consistent is like me being single, no prospects, no anything like that. And there are times, especially as Valentine's Day is about to creep up, I'm like, I want a bouquet of flowers. I want somebody to tell me I'm pretty. I want to feel all, inside. But most of the time, child, I'm like, why would a man be there? Am I as dead set on I'm not dating for the next 3 years? I actually don't even know how to date. That's the thing. Like, I think I was equating like dating with relationship. I think maybe at some point, I don't know, I could be open to date. I don't know how to date though. Like, I have not dated since I've been in a relationship. I met that person when I was in college. Again, I'm 30. And this is what I mean by a 30-year-old teenager, baby. I don't even know how to go on a date with a man. Like, I'm so shy. I'm so nervous. Any men, like, I've had, like, just casual conversation or banter with, they're like, you're so mean. And, you know, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know how to talk to these men. But also, it's not really the worst thing in the world. Probably not, girls. Last on the list, I know I only had one more. Oh, goals for law school. So I definitely came into law school knowing I wanted to do something in healthcare. In fact, one of the events that also kind of triggered this realization that I wanted to go back to school is the overturning of Roe v. Wade. I have strong thoughts and feelings about women being able to have autonomy over their bodies. My best friend, we have a goal of eventually running a nonprofit or having a nonprofit where we're able to provide products, resources like menstrual products, information on just things that so many women don't know about their bodies. And if you follow me or have followed me on my old Instagram, old TikTok, I used to talk about this stuff all the time. That's another thing, girl. I be crashing out. When I be crashing out about social media or like something in life goes wrong, I just be deleting pages. But I've had the TikTok I've had now since I've started my LSAT journey, and no full-on crash outs. No full-on crash outs to the point where I delete my social media. But my interest has already, I think, expanded since I've been in law school. I just feel like I don't know if it's because I'm 30 now and there are certain things that just change and interest me. Like something so simple that has changed for me that I can think of off the top of my head since I've turned 30 is just my appearance. So as a former athlete, I know I keep saying that, y'all are probably like, bro, we get it. I'm just saying it to make this point. Like, I am so used to wearing athletic wear and sweatsuits and this and that. And I still love a good sweatsuit. Don't get me wrong. Love them down. But I want to pour more into my appearance. Just like even today, I don't know if y'all can see my fit. Let's see. Sorry, Teddy. I just want to be a little more put together. And so now I'm like interested in clothes and fashion. And I'm like, maybe that's an area of law I might want to explore. So long term, definitely still want to do something healthcare related. However, I'm open to exploring different avenues, and I just know big picture, playing the long game, something where I can be a resource to help young girls and women, because it's crazy how many women and people I talk to and they're like, what's ovulation? What's the luteal phase? How does the luteal phase affect you? How does this affect you? And I'm no medical expert. I always recommend, like, if you are having serious issues and concerns, go see somebody who is an expert, who went to go get trained and has years in knowledge, but also being able to advocate for yourself, knowing certain things so that you can advocate for yourself. I know women who are like, I've never touched a disc or a cup in my life, don't even know how to use them. Not too long ago, I was one of those women because I only thought that tampons and pads were an option. So I'm about to wrap this up, y'all, because I can go on and on and on about this, but that is me. That's kind of my whole law school journey, where I'm at right now. We are in the spring semester of my 1L year. 1L is, it's crazy, it's devastating, it's fun, it's exciting, it's depressing, it's humbling, it's all the things, but I wouldn't trade it, and I love it. And I hope y'all enjoy this. Hope y'all got to know a little bit more about me, and let's pray your girl is able to stay on it and do her thing on YouTube this year. I'm gonna try my best. So if you like this, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Always interested in feedback, and that's all I have for y'all now. Okay, bye.